Hey everyone, Brian Bogner here, along with the most amazing Greg Towner. And it is time for our 20-minute market breakdown. Now, normally on this show, what we like to do is take 20 minutes and we talk through the current events of what's happening in the market today, right? But here's the deal. There's a lot happening in the market today, and it changes not by the day, not by the minute, but by the second. And if somebody is telling you right now they've got this figured out and they've got it all mapped out based on all these things that are happening right now, then I want you to turn and run in the opposite direction as fast as you can from whatever that person is saying. Because we talk a lot about noise and avoiding the noise and getting to what's really happening underneath. The noise is deafening, as I'm sure you know right now, of what the media, our government, governments, policy that are just changing on a dime, and then the market's zigging and zagging and up and down and left and right. So today's episode, we're not going to talk about this noise and what's the volatility that some of the volatility we've been seeing. What we're going to discuss is an underlying theme and trend in the market that we truly believe from the bottom of our hearts is something that is going to be a game changer in the long run, not only in the markets and how we invest, but in our lives. And of course, I'm talking about that wonderful two-lettered word, AI, artificial intelligence. So let's dive in. Let's talk a little bit about this, how it affects you. Again, we've only got 20 minutes, so we're not going to solve the AI world, but we're going to hopefully just increase your interest in this topic. So, Greg, we are talking about AI today.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's on your mind when it comes to AI?
Yeah, I'm super excited about us talking about this. I know we've been talking about it and using the tools more and more internally on our team, and I'm sure a lot of the people listening are starting to use them personally. But it's just a fascinating topic, like you said, from business perspective, investment perspective, just how the world is quickly changing. So
Yeah.
we thought this would be a great time to dig into it. Before we get into the kind of the investment side of it, I thought it would be really interesting. We're seeing every time I turn around, there's a new article, a new data point, a new quote that just blows our minds. So I'm just going to share a few of those right now off the bat to get us started. So the McKinsey Business Consulting Group, one of maybe the biggest consulting group in the world, recently said that 92% of executives expect to boost AI spending in the next 3 years. So pretty much rounds to everybody, right? Is going to boost their spending on AI. There was also a really good report done by Bank of America recently. They said that US electrical demand growth, they expect to increase by about 2.5% per year for the next 10 years. Now, you may say, oh, 2.5, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? Well, let's put it in context. The past 10 years increased by only 0.5% per year. And now you're looking at jumping that up to 2.5%. You can't just snap your fingers and
Right,
make that much electrical demand available.
right,
And we'll
right,
we'll get into that more in the future. More data, if you just talk about the data being generated by all of us these days, more data is being created just here in the past 3 years than in the entire previous history of the human race,
right.
right? That's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Now, here's a quote from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. Uh, we already hear from scientists that they are 2 to 3 times more productive than they were before AI. Think about that. We're in the early innings, perhaps, and they're already 2 to 3 times more productive.
Yep, yep,
And so, I mean, I think a lot of these AI researchers would tell you that just in the time it took me to read those three different, stats and quotes,
right.
you could have used one of these tools to create a small business plan, design the website, draft the legal terms. I mean, it's amazing what all these
Right.
tools are doing, and I know we're going to get into that more.
Yeah, and one thing too, I think it's important to address is I think a lot of people there's some fear and their concern out there
Sure.
that AI is going to take my job or it's going to replace me. And the reality is, if your job can be automated or like I do this and I do it over and over and over again and I do the same task and the same thing over and over and over again, then I think the reality is that at some point AI very well may replace that function. I mean, that's just the reality and the brutal truth of where we're at. But if your job is more involved in thought leader, it's you have a, knowledge or you're using something, in here, thinking of AI as a partner that you can use to help you. So like when scientists say, "Oh, we do our research so much faster, or we do this so much better, or we do this much more easier," it's embracing this amazing tool that we have to make these intense calculations and this intense stuff that we're doing much quicker and much easier. So I think that again, the fear of replacing the job, it is real. And again, depending on that, but in every move, when jobs have been replaced by technology, every single time we've seen this happen, new jobs are created that we've never had before. And I truly believe it's going to be the same in AI. So it may require some retraining or some other things along those lines. But every time, if we look at, computers and the internet and all these things that replaced certain jobs, new jobs came out of it, new opportunity came out of it. And I truly believe that is the case for this.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to watch how that plays out.
Yeah.
Like I said, on our team, we're using it more and more. And so, right now, for one example, we might use it to really dig deep onto a company that perhaps we already own, perhaps one that's new to us, and we're, getting to know the company more. Instead of us starting off by doing hours upon hours upon hours of reading, some
Right.
may be useful, some may not. We give the tools specific instructions to
Hmm.
provide us a lot of information that we find most relevant, whether it be on a company, an ETF, et cetera. So really utilizing those tools a lot. But what we've really done, and fortunately for the last couple of years, we had some pretty good exposure to companies benefiting
Right.
from AI in our portfolios. But we've been ramping that up even more across many of our strategies because we just, like we're emphasizing here, we really think it's not only the present, but the future. And so we really want to make sure we have exposure, but exposure in a variety of ways, right, Brian? It's not just, oh, who makes AI or something,
Right.
right?
Right.
It's all encompassing. I mean, I gave the stat about the electrical demand. I mean, there's just going to be tremendous needs to provide not only more energy, but in a sustainable and predictable way. So
Correct.
whether that's nuclear or improvements on the energy grid, or of course, all this data center usage is increasing tremendously with all the AI. Every search you do on AI is much, much, much more
Right.
impactful energy needs than a normal search. Robotics are tied into AI.
Hmm.
And so many more companies, even if they're not directly involved in AI, they're using AI to benefit themselves.
Correct.
We invest in some defense companies that are utilizing AI. We
Right.
invest in a ride sharing company that's using AI.
Right.
More and more industries and more companies are either directly benefiting or tied to it in some way.
Yeah. And so you list all these areas, and we think about it from an investment standpoint, right? It's, again, right, energy companies, right? Okay, and producing the energy, delivering the energy, whether it's a utility or an energy, getting it out of the ground or wherever
Right.
we get the energy from. There's industrials, right, that build these data centers, that build
Yeah.
the grid. There's, along those lines, there's technology companies as well that are creating, whether they're creating the chips or creating, what's happening on the technology side. There's a lot of I guess my point is I think a lot of times we think AI tech. No, there's actually a
Right.
lot of other things that feed in to this to make this thing happen that creates opportunity that we at Parallel Portfolios are taking advantage of.
Yeah, and of course, we always think it's important not only to look for those opportunities, but very important to monitor for risks as well.
Right.
I mean, there's inevitably, like any technology change, going to be companies, maybe even industries that are left behind for whatever reason. So we want to just make sure that, we're not investing in those areas.
Right.
And then you already touched on it in terms of, how AI may impact the job market, but it's really a big question. How will AI impact the economy? I mean, I've seen some predictions on both ends that are so extreme. Some people predicting 20% unemployment,
Hmm.
while others are saying it's going to incredibly boost GDP and where none of us are going to need jobs. It's just going to be money dropping from the
Yeah.
sky. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just crazy predictions. Reality is it will probably be somewhere more in the middle.
Right.
But that's going to be fascinating to watch as we go forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Good deal. So I
Well,
know, yeah, I was going to say, I know at this part we kind of do our recommendations at the very, very end. But I know my recommendation, I'm actually going to show you how to utilize a tool in AI that I think, I have found very useful. So we're going to kind of jump to our recommendations a little early
Yeah.
and then get into that. So Greg, what do you got for us this week?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going in for to the summer travel season for a lot of people. So I had just one recommendation this time around. I mean, a lot of people like myself like to use Airbnb, but one of the drawbacks is they don't yet have a rewards program.
Mm.
But I think a lot of people don't realize there's actually a few airlines, Delta most notably, that you're able to actually connect Delta and Airbnb together and earn Delta miles when you travel,
Oh.
when you book with Airbnb. So basically, just simplest way is to do an internet search for Delta and Airbnb. It will take you to a website where you put in your Delta Sky number. It brings you to a specific Airbnb website. It looks the exact same, but it's just Delta,
Hmm.
web
Hmm.
address.
Hmm.
And now you're earning Delta miles. So just a little tip there that, since you get some rewards from that respect.
No, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Always looking for ways to, generate a little bit of points and things like that, especially if you're traveling. So that's good advice.
Yeah.
All right. Now, my recommendation, normally you can just listen to this in your car, but to get the most out of this recommendation, I'm going to share my screen. So for the next 5 minutes, if you can, you know, go to this will be on our YouTube channel, go to the YouTube channel and then watch. I think you'll find this a little more interesting than just listening to it, but you may get something out of just listening to it as well. So I'm going to share my screen right now and I'm going to talk to you about an AI tool called Perplexity. And what Perplexity is, it's essentially AI driven internet searching. Well, that's really how it started. Now it's blossomed into so much more than just that, but we're just going to focus today on the internet searching. I haven't used a traditional, whether it's Bing or Google or Yahoo, whatever. I have not used a traditional internet search in a long time. I just use Perplexity. I pay the $20 a month for it because it's a much more robust system. I think you actually have to pay to use it, if I remember correctly now. Maybe they give you a month free or something like that. It comes with an app on my phone. I can actually just take the app and speak in like, "Hey, I'm looking for this, and that, da 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 da," and it will either just display it for me or it'll speak it back to me, whatever the answer is. And I'm going to show you some examples right now. So let me share my screen. And here we go. And share. Hopefully you all can see this. So in this instance here, I am, and actually I'm broadcasting today. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm visiting one of our advisory groups up here in New England, and I'm in Salem, New Hampshire. So I am asking Perplexity, and you can just read along with me. I've already done this as an example. I said, I'm on a business trip in Salem, New Hampshire. I'm looking for some healthy, good choices to eat out. Not a fan of chain franchises and prefer more local options. Don't mind driving too far if the food is worth it. Can you please give me some options? So what does it do? It starts looking through all these different sources. And as you can see here, it's giving me some great options. It's showing me pictures of the food. It's showing me where it's located on a map. It's showing me what the Yelp rating is on it. It's giving me a brief description on it, and it gives me about 5 options. And I thought, okay, that's good. And then it'll actually show me the sources. It'll show me exactly where like it got all of these things from. Like there was Fresh Hub Eatery and this happycow.net and Crack Kitchen. So, and it went to 16, am I reading that right? I'm sorry, 10 sources on the internet. And I can pull up those sources as you can see here. And I can actually click in. I could say, oh, well, yeah, maybe I'm looking for some vegan options. Okay, cool. So I can click in here and it'll pull up this source. And now I can just click around in there. The point is, if you are doing this on just a normal search, you would just have to get through the ads and then just kind of start working through and clicking through and click back and click through and this and that. This is doing all of this for you. So I use it a lot when I'm just going somewhere and I need a place to eat. I also use it a ton when I'm buying something and I just don't know. Like, for example, let me pull up an example I did here, right? Something we don't do a lot of, which is buy a dishwasher, right? We probably buy 1 or 2 dishwashers our entire life. So when it comes time to buy one, we need it. We use it every single day, probably. So I said, hey, I need to buy a dishwasher. I'm looking for one that's very reliable, great reviews, comes in black or stainless steel front. I'm also looking to do zero interest financing on this. What can you recommend? Well, okay, and then it gives me some stuff here on how to buy it, and then it starts listing um, here's a Bosch one. Again, it's got pictures of it. It's got a description of it. It's got a rating on it. And then it's actually got the Best Buy link. I can just click right here and it would take me to Best Buy to show it. And for some reason, it is showing me Best Buy. Nope. It's also got one here from Home Depot, this Maytag. It's got another KitchenAid from Home Depot, another GE one from Best Buy. So again, it's given me five of these things. I could come down here. It'll give you some options. It'll say, do you want to ask me, which dishwasher offers the best reliability? Do you want to ask me, how do Bosch and LG compare? Yeah, maybe I decide I want to use, okay, Bosch and LG. I want one or the other. So I go ahead and I can just click on that and it'll start, giving me the answer there. Here's all the sources, as you can see. You can see it pulling up the answers and then boom, it's comparing now Bosch and LG, right? So here's some content. As you're watching here, it's pulling out in real time. It'll give me a summary. I always love Perplexity summaries because they use table forms a lot. It's really easy to go back and forth and just kind of compare. So I find it as a great tool. Instead of now going into an internet search, finding a review website, going into that review website, kind of then having to read all of that, this summarizes up, saves a ton of time for me. And at $20 a month, I will gladly pay this for the amount of time and the information that I get. So it's called perplexity.ai. Highly recommend it. We don't make a dime on this if you sign up for it, but it's a great tool. And with that, I want to thank you for watching today and listening and watching today on our 20-minute market breakdown. We're always here available to help you with whatever you need. Give us a call, shoot us an email here at Parallel, and have a blessed rest of your week.